Good evening, night travelers. Welcome back to the Quiet Hour, your companion in the stillness when the world finally exhales. I'm here with you in this sacred space between dusk and dawn, whether you're winding down your day, keeping yourself awake on a lonely highway, or lying in the darkness wondering if kindness still matters in this world. If you're new to our little gathering, welcome. This is where we remember the things that truly count, not the noise and the rush, but the quiet moments that change everything. If this resonates with you tonight, consider subscribing. We're here every evening, building a community of people who still believe in the power of simple goodness. Tonight, I want to tell you a story about a glass of milk. It's a true story and it spans decades. It's about a moment of kindness so small, so seemingly insignificant, that the woman who gave it probably forgot about it the next day. But the boy who received it? He never forgot, not for a single moment. Let me take you back to the 1920s to a small town in Pennsylvania. Picture a young boy, maybe 14 years old, walking door to door in the sweltering summer heat. His name was Howard, and he was selling books, educational subscriptions, magazine renewals, anything he could to scrape together enough money for his next semester of school. Howard came from nothing. His family had no money. If he wanted an education, he'd have to earn every penny himself. So, day after day, he walked those streets, knocked on those doors, faced rejection after rejection, all while his stomach growled and his feet ached. On this particular afternoon, Howard hadn't eaten in almost 2 days. He had exactly 3 cents in his pocket, and he was saving it for, well, he wasn't sure what. Maybe a night's lodging if he couldn't make it home. As he approached the next house, a modest white clapboard home with a porch swing, his hands were shaking, not just from hunger, but from something deeper, a kind of exhaustion that settles in your bones when you're young and the world feels impossibly hard. He knocked on the door, preparing his sales pitch, but when the door opened, the words caught in his throat. A young woman stood there, maybe 19 or 20, with kind eyes and an apron dusted with flour. She'd been baking. Howard's pride battled with his desperation. Finally, his voice barely above a whisper, he asked, Could I trouble you for a glass of water? The woman looked at this thin, exhausted boy and saw something in his eyes. That particular kind of hunger that asks about more than just food. She disappeared into the house and returned not with water, but with a tall glass of cold milk. Howard took that glass with trembling hands and drank it down like a man who'd been wandering the desert. When he finished, he reached into his pocket for those 3 precious pennies. How much do I owe you? He asked, already knowing those 3 cents wouldn't be enough. The woman smiled gently. You don't owe me anything. My mother taught me that kindness doesn't come with a price tag. She always said, we give because we can, not because we expect something in return. Howard felt something shift inside him. Not just the relief of a full stomach, but something deeper. Someone had seen him. Someone had cared. In that moment, when he felt invisible and worthless, this stranger had treated him like he mattered. He left that porch with more than a full stomach. He left with renewed determination. Every time he wanted to give up over the next few years, and there were many such times, he thought of that woman and that glass of milk. Someone had believed in him enough to show him kindness. He owed it to her and to himself to keep going. Howard worked his way through school, then through medical school. He became Dr. Howard Kelly, one of the most renowned surgeons in the country, a pioneer in his field, teaching at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Now, let's fast forward nearly 30 years. Dr. Kelly receives a consultation request for a complex case, a woman with a rare illness that had stumped other doctors. She'd been transferred from a small-town hospital and her prognosis wasn't good. When Dr. Kelly reviewed her chart, he noticed something. Her hometown, that small Pennsylvania town. A memory stirred, distant but persistent, like a song you can't quite place. He walked into her room, and when he saw her face, now older, weathered by life and illness, everything came rushing back. The white clapboard house, the porch swing, the flour-dusted apron, the glass of milk that had saved not just his body, but his spirit. She didn't recognize him. Why would she? He was just another hungry boy in a lifetime of people she'd helped. But he recognized her, and in that moment, Dr. Kelly made a decision. He threw everything he had into her case. He consulted with specialists, tried experimental treatments, spent hours researching. He treated her not just as a patient, but as the woman who'd once treated him like he was worth caring about. After weeks of intensive care, the woman recovered. She was preparing to go home when the hospital bill arrived. She opened it with dread, knowing that years of her life would be spent paying off this debt. The treatments had been extensive, the specialists numerous, the hospital stay long. The number at the bottom of the page would be astronomical. But when she looked at the final line, her hands started to shake. The total was 0, and written in a Dr. S. familiar scrawl were these words, paid in full with 1 glass of milk. Drive. Howard Kelly. The woman sat there, holding the bill, tears streaming down her face as a memory flooded back. A thin, exhausted boy on her porch decades ago, asking for water, receiving milk, leaving with hope. Now, I know some of you listening tonight might be thinking, that's a beautiful story. But I'm not a doctor. I can't save lives. I don't have the power to pay off someone's hospital bills. But here's what I want you to understand. That woman didn't have power either. She was just a young woman with a glass of milk. She didn't perform a miracle. She didn't save the world. She just saw someone who needed help, and she helped. That's it. That's all. The kindness you show today, the small gesture you make when no one's watching, the moment you choose compassion over convenience, you have no idea what that might become. You're planting seeds in soil you'll never see bloom. And that's okay. That's actually the point. Maybe tomorrow you'll hold the door for someone who's about to give up. Maybe you'll smile at someone who feels invisible. Maybe you'll give your time, your attention, your presence to someone who desperately needs to know they matter. You might be giving someone their glass of milk, and 30 years from now, in ways you'll never know, that small kindness might save their life. I think about the world we're living in right now. It's easy to feel like kindness is naive, like generosity is for suckers, like we should protect ourselves and our resources because no one else will. But that woman didn't think that way. She just gave because she could, and it came back to her in ways she never could have imagined. Your kindness is never wasted, even when it's not returned, even when it's not acknowledged, even when you feel like you raid just one person with 1 glass of milk in a world dying of thirst. Be that person anyway. That's our story for tonight here on The Quiet Hour. If this touched something in you, I'd love to hear about a time when someone gave you your glass of milk or when you gave one to someone else. Share in the comments below. And if you're joining us for the first time, subscribe so we can continue these quiet conversations that remind us what it means to be human. Until tomorrow night, remember, you never know when your small act of kindness will become someone else's reason to keep. Go in, and someday, when you need it most, your own glass of milk will arrive. Sleep well, drive safely, and be kind to someone tomorrow, my friends. You have no idea how much it might matter.